But we'll start with the Army, I guess, West Pointers. And we certainly got one to discuss here with an over-under that Lonte has selected as one he's very interested in.
Yep.
Current numbers at BetOnline, Army over 7.5 wins is plus 110, under 7.5 minus 140 for one of the darlings of 2024, but new year, new Army.
Yeah, man, for sure. And I love our troops and everybody who serves for our country, but we're gonna go under here. You can find maybe a little bit better if you want to just always shop around, like we always say. But I mean, they were great last year, 12-2 AAC champs. They were dominant, led by Bryson Daly, who was a dark horse Heisman contender. But they lose him. They do lose Kanye Udo to Arizona State. They lost two offensive linemen. More importantly, both of those were tackles. They were a Joe Moore Award winner. They got a new offensive line coach. So it's a lot of new things on the offensive side. But obviously, we know that Army is going to do what they do, but can they do it to a higher level or a even level, even to last year? I don't think so. Offensively, defensively, they're a little bit more to like. There's a little bit more stability, a lot more to like there. Um, they gave up about 16 points per game in the AAC. They do lose their best player, defensive player to Georgia, and all like reviews about him. He's going to be a contributor for that Georgia team, so that's big. They do return six of the top 10 tacklers. I like their linebacking core of Miller and Thomas. They were pretty good. But overall, I just think that the offense is not going to be able to catch up to the defensive time. And then the schedule wise, I just think the schedule is tough. I mean, they play the top three power rated teams, my top three power rated teams in the conference at Tulane, at UTSA, and they play Navy, of course. They also play the bottom three, which is good. Temple, Charlotte, and Tulsa. All of those are at home, so those are pretty good um, games that they should win. They go to Air Force, and Air Force should be a little bit. I think we'll talk about them a little bit later. I think I'm a little bit higher on them than most. They'll be looking to avenge a loss. Air Force, that is. Um, four of the first seven are on the road, so I think it's a tough slate. Um, I think there's 7-5 football teams. 6-6 is the bottom floor. I think 7-5 is the ceiling for them.
Yeah, and still goes under there. So looking at their schedule last year, so Army started the season 9-0 with a big win at North Texas with a beautiful 14-3 final score.
Oh yeah, that's
Until their
beautiful.
first loss, unfortunately, we're not very competitive with Notre Dame. I think right as the hype machine got going, that we might see some service academies potentially in a college football playoff. That kind of went away. Lost to Navy in the finale also wasn't great, but a good win in the Independence Bowl against local Louisiana Tech. So I guess things that were pretty bright heading into 2025. You mentioned, and I think we went through the schedules a little bit on the last episode, which I think is interesting. Start with Tarleton State, then go on the road to Manhattan, Kansas. That's going to be certainly difficult against K-State. North
Mhm.
Texas, I just mentioned, maybe I'm a little biased because it's nearby where I'm recording from today. Then East Carolina, UAB, Charlotte, Tulane, Air Force, Temple, Tulsa, UTSA, and then a potential American Championship game already on the schedule, which is kind of funny on the Army West Point website. And then, of course, that last standalone game with Navy in Baltimore this year. Um, what do we think? Because to me, that's always one of the most watched games because it's the only thing on TV
Yep. Yep.
late in, or I guess mid-December, late in the college football season. Give me a couple thoughts on what you have about Navy, and then we'll move to another conference.
Yeah, I actually love Navy. Out of the service academies, if I had to rank them, I would go Navy, Air Force, and then Army. I mean, strictly because of what the returning production that Army brings. I mean that Navy brings back. Obviously, we know that a lot of people don't transfer in or out of service academies. I mean, we have two instances here in Army of those two guys that transferred out, and they were two of the better players. But if you look at Navy, I mean, they bring back Blake Horvath, who was a monster, put up monster numbers. They got one of the top offensive lines in the AAC. Although they only bring two starters back, four of the top seven did leave. But I think the offensive line, we know what they produce. They got a lot of production back, man, with their running back. They got the wide receivers. I like their defense. If they can shore up that secondary, I think they'll be fine there. But yeah, I'm pro Navy. To be quite honest with you, I went over on Navy and under on Army, but I think Navy is just in a much better space to kind of succeed in this specific year than what any other service academy is, especially Army.
Yeah, so again, thank you to our service members, especially if you're listening to us
Yes,
abroad.
absolutely.
Appreciate that. But I guess the midshipmen are first on Lonte's power ratings. And unfortunately, Army does go on the road to Air Force in Colorado
Yeah.
Springs. So that's going to be a
Yep.
tough one.
Tough
But
one.
we'll move on to, and I'm sure to your point about not a lot of players transferring in or out of service academies, pretty rough when you're losing a player to UGA of
Absolutely.
all places to Georgia. So we'll
Absolutely.
see how they handle that.